When we talk about interior design, the big drawing that we're looking at will be the floor plan with all the materials and details and also interior elevations. So let's take a look at graphics for interior elevations. When we do these by hand, you'll be learning some of those tools in the graphics class, but in this class, we're going to take a look at how to create it in AutoCAD and in Revit. Now, I know that there are other programs out there like SketchUp and several others like Photoshop that we can use to bring the drawings into to work with, but thought I'd concentrate on these two. They're used in our industry, and why not? So here we go. When you create here interior elevation views, we sometimes think about these type of oblique views as well. So you take a floor plan, you turn it on its side, and you create the walls all straight up, all with specific angles, like 30, 60, depending on what you want. And so from that, we create interior elevations, and I wanted to show you this one. This one came from a really great book about interior design, the graphics, and when you look at some of these elevations, um, I like to kind of close off this cabinet and put a hatch or something in here to show that this is the base cabinet and the wall and the upper cabinet and the soffit here. But there are people who draw because technically it is just the wall. So you might see something like this and think, like, what's going on there, right? Well, that's the base cabinet, the backsplash wall right here, and then the upper cabinet and the soffit. Okay, so I did include several examples of different interior elevations here for your reference, and different jobs. I'll just start from this side so that you can see some commercial interior elevations. They get kind of detailed, especially when you want to show the cabinets and the countertops and a lot that's going on in that wall. For interior designers and architects, we draw these views, and then we take it a step further to select the materials and create a presentation board based on those materials. So we do have these accessibility details. Sometimes we'll just throw a typical um, toilet accessory chart like this in that shows all the heights, and I don't go so far as to add all of these, but typically this interior elevation with a couple of other ones here on the projects that I've worked with. Wendy's, just other examples you can use and all of these are posted in this module, giving you examples of different interior elevations. You can see that it's just the wall itself. You can even see over here that part of this is like a section cut through a countertop, so they're not showing it there. Okay, so if you'd like to take a look through these for your reference, there are several. This one's really good because, well, it's hand drawn, but you can see where the cabinets are, the toilet, the bathroom right there. So these are for your reference posted. I also posted a room finish schedule. The room finish schedule is important to us because in interior design, we also, like architects, we pick out the type of floor and the base and the walls, at least like the coverings on it. And so typically you'll have here a room finish schedule with like a key here. You can see that this is exactly what color it is and what manufacturer and which panels. So this really ties it all together and talks about the furnishings paint requirements and all of those things like the floor and the wall and the ceilings and materials in that room. All right, door schedules also important to us. What type of door? Does it have a window? What is it, metal? Is it wood? Those type of things. I wanted to make sure that I added a few of those drawings in here. This one shows how an interior elevation is marked. This is one example. This is that elevation marker. So there's a circle with a number that represents which elevation, and then the one at the bottom is going to tell you what sheet it's on. So you're looking for number 1 on sheet 5. And here it is, number 1 on sheet 5. It's on the same sheet. Okay. I did add this as well because this is a typical bathroom interior elevation examples. Okay, so this one's pretty good. This one has the kitchen plan, and then it has sections that show the interior elevation. So this is DD right here, looking that way. So there's the refrigerator, and you can see the dishwasher, underneath, and then the window right there, right? And so these are the different elevations of this kitchen. All right, so moving forward here, let's take a look at how we can create an elevation with graphics, digital graphics. Okay, we'll start with Revit. Now, if you have your own project that you'd like to use and kind of learn from this project, then it's your choice, but also a choice if you want to follow along with this one and do something generic. All right, so I'm just going to show you what I did, and then I'll go back and I'll do it. So I created a wall here, making sure that I had it within these 4 elevation markers. Created this wall, and I decided to use the basic wall so that later on we can add an interior material to it so that we can decide on that material. And then I put a door in here, and I threw a couple people in here later on, but I'll show you how to do that. I do also have an elevation marker here, and in the elevation view, I'm just like an overview first. This is the wall that we drew. We're going to add what's called a wall sweep. That's this piece right here. I did add a couple more windows in here, fixed windows. So we're going to take a look at creating a wall elevation and adding a sweep to your wall. We're going to use split face to split the material so that the material on the surface is going to be stone at the bottom and some other, material like wallpaper or whatever you'd like on the top. With Revit, you can just insert the people in here, and they'll already have the photorealistic appearance. And then we're also going to bring a decal in here, some kind of photo that we can put on the wall. We're going to turn on and off our shadows right there, and then use the realistic setting. And then on top of that, we're going to look at the line work to change the line work so that we can get this bold line that goes around the outside and any other lines that we want to be bold. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so like I said, when you start a brand new drawing here, new project, you don't want to use this template. You can pick the browse button and go to default right there, default RTE. it's going to give you this nice blank drawing that you can bring things into. I'm going to go ahead and pick OK. Now I'm going to go up to the wall tool, and I'm going to change the height to level 2 since we're on level 1, and we'll just use the generic 8-inch wall. I'm just going to go ahead and click a point and then click another point right there. And then you can pick the modify button at the top left or use your escape key several times to get out of that. I'm just going to go ahead and put a door in there. It doesn't matter which kind or where it's at. It's totally up to you. You can even go back, click the modify button at the top left, or use your escape key to get out of that, and go to window. And you can see all these different windows, so you can put a window in there too if you'd like. Make sure that you pull your pointer towards the outside of the wall so that you have that window. Those see those little arrows have to be on the outside, so you know the window is facing the right direction. And see the wall even has those double arrows that show that the exterior is on the top part. And when you click on the door, you can use these little arrows to change the swing of it if you'd like to do that as well. Okay, so when you're in Revit, if you want to cancel out of anything, you want to, the best way, there's so many different ways, is to click this modify button at the top left. It kind of takes you out of everything. But the escape key and right clicking and picking cancel works, but it might not take you completely out right away. All right, so while we're here, we might as well put some people in. Yeah, why not? To give us a little bit of a reference. I put the people in afterwards, but we can do that. So let's go up to insert. When you're working with Revit, you have to be either signed in to Autodesk to load the Autodesk families under the insert tab there, or you have to go through and download all of those families. I have a video about that as well, to get all of the families into your computer. And if they're there, then you would just go straight to load family. But a lot of people are deciding to go to load Autodesk family right here. Once you're signed in, you'll be able to get here to the categories. So these are all the categories. The category that has the people is called entourage. The entourage here has kind of miscellaneous things, but the male and the female are here. So I'm going to go ahead and click both of those and pick load. So now that they're loaded, I can go over to architecture and pick component and pick place the component. So now I have in here all of the females, all of the males, but I need to find out what they look like, because some of them are sitting down. One way to do that is to, for instance, go to Kathy under female and pick edit type. When you pick edit type, if you scroll down, you'll see render appearance and then Kathy. So go ahead and click on Kathy right there. And you see how it shows you an image of her? She's standing and she's holding something, suitcase or something. She's traveling. That's right. She's a traveler. And so you can organize these if you like, because they're going to show you, I'm going to go ahead and pick OK. Because they'll show you different images. You can duplicate and select the image that you want. But we're just going to go ahead and pick Kathy. I think her name was. Yeah. No, yeah. There's so many different ones. It's too bad they don't show a graphic image here. You have to go pick edit type and then go click on their name to see what they look like. So the little arrow points in the direction that people are looking. So that's my person. But you go ahead and pick whatever person you like. In fact, over here, I think I used Florence. This is Florence right there. and this is, now, this is what was my point. I should have duplicated it because this is Tina, but it's not. I went to edit type and I picked right here under Alex, and Alex has 3 images. That's not all Alex, okay? It's just that these images are nested within there, so you can duplicate Tina and then call it Alex, and then make that image first image. So I might say that it's Tina, but there's Tina right there. That's Alex. Okay. I'm going to cancel out of that. See how it says Alex right there? So if you wanted to, but you see how the type is called Tina? So you could duplicate this and call it Alex and then set those up that way, or just use the one that actually looks right. So there he is. All right. So going back to your drawing here, the other thing we could do is add, let's do this. Let's add another layer to the wall. So click on that wall and then just click once. If you double click on a lot of these objects, you might go either into sketch mode or you're going to go into right into the family. So if I double click on the wall, I'd go into a sketch mode. You'd have to click the red X to get out of it. If you double click on the door, you'd actually go into the file, the family file. You'd have to close that file to get back to the drawing. Okay, so select the wall, go to edit type, and then pick duplicate. And you can just, I don't know, call it my wall. Sometimes I'll name the walls based on, interior design wall, or I'll name it based on the project itself, or what type of wall it is, right? So my wall, I'll go ahead and pick OK. Now, if I click on edit under structure, you'll see that it only has the main structure and the core boundary. That's going to be like the main material that goes through all the other materials. So what we want to do is add another or insert another material. So I'm going to go ahead and click on insert, and you see how it inserts another structure. So the first thing we want to do is change. So the one that has 0 thickness is the new one. So we're going to change the function from structure to finish one. And then we're going to highlight it right here and pick down button. And I'm picking down a couple of times because I'm moving it down. If you look closely, the top of this list will be for the exterior side, and the bottom of the list is for the interior side. You may have already learned this in the Revit course that we have, the BIM course. But if not, here it is. We created another layer for that wall, and we called it finish one for the function. Now let's go ahead and give it a little bit of thickness. It doesn't have to be much, guys. It can just be like a 1/16 of an inch, but I'm just going to go ahead and put an 1/8 of an inch, 0.125. You can either put, you have to put the inches in Revit. That's right, 0.125, and then use your shift key and put inches in order to get it to be inches, or else it's going to convert to feet. There it is. You could have also put 1/8, but make sure you type in the inches. All right. And then for the material, let's go ahead and decide on what kind of material the main wall is going to be. Now, this is totally your choice, because right now we're deciding on the main wall, but we can change it later when we use the tool called split face. So, I'll go with showing it to you both ways. I mean, in this video, we're going to go look at a lot of different options. So, then you take what I'm doing and kind of create your own based on whatever works for you. So I'm going to go to by category and click on this little icon with the 3 dots right there under materials. And this list of materials, guys, is only the materials that These are only the materials that are in this file. So I think it would be a good idea to show you how to create a new material, and then we'll be able to attach a color to it. So down at the bottom, under where it says Material Library, look for that gray ball there and click on the little arrow next to the gray ball and pick Create New Material. And you'll see it in the list, it says Default New Material. You put your pointer on that, right click, and pick Rename. And that's going to be my wall material. But like I said, if once you figure out what kind of material that you want to use, you can connect the name of it to either leaving it as my wall material or making it like bamboo wall or carpet or paint, whatever you decide on. And then next to that gray, so now we named it, next to that gray ball is that little white box with the blue on the top. Click on that. So now we're going to attach the material to that new named wall surface. So we're going to go and make sure you watch out here. You're going to use the appearance library. So we have a lot of different libraries here. We're using the appearance library. And if you want to check out wall coverings, there's wall paint and there's wall coverings. So, you can decide on any one of these. This is your design, not mine. So you develop whatever works for you. I'm going to use stone. Why not? Wall stones. So I'm going to, once I double click on this, you see how it doesn't do anything, but it does. That's why I moved this over so I could show you that this dialog box is usually right on top of this one. It doesn't look like anything's happened, but it does load it there when you double click on whatever material you're going to use. And then I can close out of this asset browser, the one on top right there. So now I have a new material in my list, and I decided to put stone on it. Okay, another thing to let you know, we can customize these. So you can create your own and then go get an image right here. You can go attach an image. I've done this several times where we had a rammed wall on the exterior, and we went to the manufacturer's website and found a little swatch of a little image of the color, and we brought it in here and created our own list of the materials. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick apply and pick OK, and there's the material. So we just created that. Let's go ahead and pick OK. So let's create an interior elevation. So in the View tab, under Elevation, we can click right here, Elevation. Down here, we want to create an interior elevation. You can click right there. Make it so it's pointing to that. And then you're done, and you still have that on your pointer. So pick the Modify button at the top left or escape out of that several times. Now, see what happens when I click on this elevation? There are these little check marks that give me options to create more than one interior elevation. So if I had a room and I wanted to show two of them, I could click on this one and that one. And then this marker, once I brought the drawings into Sheets, will automatically populate with the numbers that coordinate from the plan to the elevations. So now that it's created, we can see it over here under elevations. There it is. It's called elevation 1. So let's rename that as interior elevation. We can right click on it and pick rename and type in interior elevation. I would recommend that you use uppercase, because when you drag this into your sheet, that's going to be the title of that view. So there it is, interior elevation. Double click on it and we have our interior elevation. Yay! At the bottom left, the next icon here, instead of looking at wireframe, we'll look at realistic. And there's our realistic view showing us the stone wall with the person, which you can move around in the plan, and the door, the window. So over in the architecture tab, underneath the wall tool, click on the little arrow there and you'll go down to sweeps. Now, sweeps will be profiles that stick out, and reveals are profiles that like indent in, right? So I'm going to click on sweep. And then when you put your pointer in the drawing, you can start to see that sweep. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and come down here and click. And then weird thing is you have to like zoom back in order to see it, or click to see it. You have to zoom back to see that it's set. So what we did here is we added a wall sweep that was the default wall sweep. And like I said, you can change the profiles of these sweeps. And we use these for exterior views so that we can create like an accent material around, but we use it in interior for the crown molding, the base molding, and any kind of wainscoting or like this trim board that's here. So when you click on that sweep, you see how it goes into the door here? We want to use these blue little grips to kind of pull it back so that it pulls back away from the door. It went right into the door, right there. And just wanted to show you that since we have it selected, just like the people, you can click on edit type. And this is where you may want to end up duplicating it and creating different profile types, because you see the profile default underneath construction profile default. If you look at this drop down list, these are the ones that are loaded. But there is this deeper dive here where you can draw your own profile. So crown moldings, all kinds of different things that you can draw as a profile. I've taught that before in different Revit classes. I think I might have a video on my YouTube channel for that. But if you're interested, let me know. Here are the different defaults that are loaded. Okay, these are families. Right. So we'll just use this default one for now, but we can change the material. So under material, okay, under materials, finishes material, there's category again, and we're talking about that sweep that we just created. We can click on the little icon, the three little dots at the end of where it says my by category, and then it's okay with me if you just scroll down and use one of these other materials like wood stained or something like that. I just want to show you the tools, but then you take it to the level that you'd like to, experiment with for your portfolio. You know now that you can go into create your own material for that one. If you want something different, you can attach the material to it, just like we did with that wall. So I'm just going to use this one, and I'll pick OK and OK again. And when I click out of it, you see that it picks up that material. All right, so we changed the wall. We put a sweep in here. Let's take a look at using split face. We're going to split the wall so that we can paint the top part something different than this stone finish. So we're going to go to the modified tab, right at the top right. And look for the tool that's called Split Face under Geometry. If you want to watch the little video there, it shows you that you can select the wall and create a box. You can really create a box that kind of cuts out that material, so that you can change to a different material. But we're going to go right across the whole, bottom part of this wall sweep. So click on Split Face, and it's got to be a closed shape too. It couldn't just be like a random line out here. So I'm going to have to select the wall. So go to the edge of the wall and select it. And now look at the top of the ribbon. You've got that red X and that green check mark. So this tells you you're in sketch mode. So I'm just going to draw a line right across from the far left corner at the bottom of that sweep all the way over to the far right corner at the bottom of the sweep. As long as I'm touching both walls right there, it's going to cut it at that point. And I'm done. I'm not going to draw any more because I'm just going from the left side to the right side. And so I'm going to escape or click on that modify button again at the top left so that you're out of that split face. You can go ahead and pick the green check mark. And now it doesn't look like anything's happened, but the wall's been split. And so now the icon right underneath split face is called paint. If you go ahead and click on that icon called paint, you'll have all the material that's loaded. And so you could go back and add materials like we did, and there are other ways, of course, of doing all of this. So whatever you kind of see in here, like I said, you can experiment with this if you'd like, but I don't know, let me try one of these. Maybe plywood. You click on the material and then click out in space on that piece. You see how that's kind of like too dark, right? So you see how I'm clicking on the icon, that I'm clicking over to the wall. You might use something white, like the white maybe that. Yeah, why not? Well, I'm showing you the tools. So this split face will help you to split the wall so that you can paint it with a different material. Cool. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. So I was able to click on it, then click on the wall and see the material change. Also, we can add color to this glass as well. And in the same way that we did before, we're going to click on the window. And now if you want just this window to change, then you have to use that duplicate view and create it as a different window. Because right now when we click edit type, we're potentially changing all of the windows that are that type. So you see how the glass pane is material is just is glass. So you can click on that and click again on those. You can barely see it, but there's think about always that there might be that little icon, the 3 little dots there at the end of this. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, especially when we're talking about material. And so at this point, it's just glass. But we probably should, I should show you how to do this right, because if I change the material that's called glass to like green or blue glass, then later on that glass material is going to be of a different color, right? So you want to start building your library by going down here to the gray ball there and clicking on create new material, and then putting your pointer on top of it, right clicking, picking rename. So now this is going to be my glass, or whatever color you decide on, green glass, right? So doesn't it make sense that like you're going to create a material that's called green glass, and then you're going to attach the green glass material to it instead of having material that's called glass and then deciding on whatever color. Okay. So now we're going to, we have that called my glass. I'm going to go down here and click on that icon with the white, that's white with the blue on it right there. And in your appearance library, guys, we do have a whole folder of glass right there. All these different colors. They don't all show up as well. They do in the rendering. We're just looking at the realistic view right now. So if you get anything clear, it's not going to show up as well. I don't know. Maybe I'll use a blue glass. And then pick apply, pick OK, and OK. If you click in space, you'll see it changes a little bit. At least it has some color to it. But if you use clear, that would be okay too, because you can, in your camera view, you'll be able to see any images that you put in the background where you're like looking through the glass to see the photo of, I don't know, the outdoors. Okay, so let's keep building our experiences. Let's go to the Insert tab, and we're going to put a photo here. So you want to go over to the internet and decide on which photo that you want to use for this wall. You decide on that, and save it in a folder someplace. I'm going to go see if I have one or something. I'm going to go up to decal and click decal types. It's under insert. Under the insert tab, you're looking for decal and decal types. And then at the bottom left corner, you're going to click on that icon that looks like a sheet of paper with a little sun on it. And this is where you can name it. I'm just going to keep it as new decal, but maybe you have 5 different images, and you know, this one's going to be for the TV, and this one's going to be for the wall, and this one's going to be for like the refrigerator, whatever you'd like. Maybe the logo. I'm going to go ahead and pick OK. Now at the top right, these little icons that are hard to see, the little button with the 3 dots, it usually represents there's another dialog box back there. Click on that and navigate over to which photo that you want to use. So like I said, you're going to grab a photo of whatever you'd want to put up there. Maybe I'll get this one. I just want to see what it looks like. Double click on it. There's the image. Pick OK. You can see that there are a lot of settings of things you can change, but what we did was we just created a new decal and then attached a JPEG to it. And so now that we have the decal types, we have one, we can go to place decal. So you go over to decal again and place decal. You see the little image there that shows you could put it on TV. And once you click, you'll see it. You'll see the image, and you're still clicking. You're still in that, so you don't want to like keep clicking. You can use the escape key or click the modify button to get out of that. And these are just little boxes of that image, so you can stretch it out. You want to probably keep the width and height in this locked proportion. So anytime you have something selected, go look under properties and you'll see there's the width and the height and the locked proportion. So you use whatever you'd like to use. In fact, I'll show you over here that I use something else random, the river, as the image. Okay. All right. So we have people, we have materials, and we have a decal. So let's take a look at some of the graphics that we can change. One thing is the line work. If we go to the modified tab, you'll see, so you have to be in the modified tab at the top right. And then you'll see here in the view panel, a tool called line work. We're in the modified tab though, and you can see next to line work, it says LW, so that's the type in for it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on line work. So what we can do is we can change existing line work with this tool. So the first thing I'm going to do is drop this list down of the line work that I want to see. So I use this for hidden lines. So if I create a wall section and the foundations are underneath the dirt and I want those to look like hidden lines, then I'll come here and I'll click on hidden and I'll go click on those lines and they'll turn to hidden. They're only showing as hidden in this view. So with this one, I'm going to go ahead and click on wide lines, wide or bold lines right there. And then if you click on the top, bottom, left, and right sides of this elevation, you'll see I have to get the bottom of the door and over here. So sometimes you have to click a few times to get a few more pieces. You'll be able to create this nice bold line that's around it showing the elevation. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click the modify button now at the top left or escape out of that. We can turn on our shadows. So down at the bottom, fourth icon is shadows. Let's go ahead and turn those shadows on. And see, you can just see, if you click on and off those shadows, you can see the shadow of the sweep. You can see the shadow inside the wall, the window. And if you had like base cabinets in there, you can decide if you'd like to use the kitchen. There's not a whole lot of wall in that to work with, but in some of the views, maybe it's completely up to you. And one more thing would be the sketchy lines. So if we go to underneath the realistic view, the graphic display options here, at the bottom left of your screen, you can pick graphic display options. And then in this menu, you see this one called sketchy lines. You can click on sketchy lines and click inside enable sketchy lines. And you see that jitter? The jitter is like how sketchy it looks, and the extension is how far the line goes past the intersections. So I'm just going to go halfway here and pick apply so you can see it. You see? It's very sketchy. So you can play around with that a little bit and kind of decide on how much of that kind of hand drawing look that you'd like to see. Let's go ahead and pick OK, and there it is. Okay, so I did forget to put text here before creating a PDF and exporting files and the rest of the video. So I'm going to do it now because my thought was that we would pull it into a sheet. Well, that's a choice if you want to pull it into a sheet, but you can also add whatever graphics and things that you want to, to this sheet and print this one, these levels. But if you did want those, you'd have to rename them and change the scale as well, because that's see how big that was. I had to change it to, instead of 1/8 of an inch, I went to 1/4 of an inch. So if you want to change the rename this to first floor and then pick yes, and this is going to be ceiling level, so I'd have to create another level for the second floor. Is everybody with me on that? I hope that you can see that this is really actually the second floor level. And if you hold your left mouse button down on that little dot that's between the line and the bigger marker circle, you can drag it over and use that. This is right here, in case you're wondering, this box is the crop view. It is very important, honestly, in Revit, because over in properties, you see crop view and crop region. So you can crop the view, but if you uncheck those two and you pick apply, that crop view it goes away, right? All right, so if we want to just use this and not drag it to a sheet, which typically we would drag it to the sheet, but you're still preliminary or you're just doing this as a view, you can go to annotate and go to text. You want to take a look at the text, the heights that are by default, because 330 seconds, a quarter inch is way too big, but at 330 seconds, let me just take a look. It might work with your cap locks on elevation, interior elevation. That's right. And you might put here, living room or kitchen, whatever the room is there. But if you think that text is not big enough, or you want to change the text type, that's where you would go start the text and click on edit type, and then duplicate it, right? Just to give you a little bit more. Maybe I would like to make this a 1/16 of an inch or a different size. And so you type in whatever the inch is that you're creating for more text type scales. So that this new one is 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to change the text height right here to 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to pick apply and OK. And now what do I have? I have another, the duplicating really does help to build what you need for that file. So if I did use 1/8 of an inch, here it would be a little bit bigger. And now we have it. We have some controls over here that we can use to underline and make it bold. Whatever you'd like to do for the title. So maybe I'll take this one out and I'll just move this one over here, interior elevation. All right. I think we need to put your name in there. Yep. So put your name. I'm going to put student name, but you put your name right there so that you can have that. Or another choice would be to make your name smaller. Totally up to you. And then if you want to export this image, I mean, you can print it and do the same. But if you go up to File and down to Export, you can go over to PDF right there. And then click in front of visible portion of the window view and give it a name. Maybe Revit interior elevation. This is just a choice you have to figure out where to put it. So pick browse button there and decide on what folder you want to put it in. And then you can use all of the, you have to change the paper size, maybe 8.5 by 11. And then pick export right there. It's going to tell you that it's a raster image and it needs the raster processing. But when you go over to your downloads, you'll be able to see the file. And it creates a PDF of your interior elevation right there. We're going to do the same kind of thing when we look at AutoCAD and creating interior elevations for that as well. Okay. This is actually the the PDF. So I'm going to go back to Revit. So in the snipping tool here that we're using, you can click on new and then hold your left mouse button down and drag it across, and there's your image. And you can pick the save button, the save icon at the top right, but make sure it's saving it as a type JPEG, and then you can give it here the name interior elevation. I'm going to create another video to keep these kind of shorter for graphics in AutoCAD for interior elevations. Have fun and keep in touch with me if you have any questions.